Welcome to another edition of The Woke Turning on the Woke. This episode of Behind the Line is brought to you by the mainstream media. The mainstream media, your number one source for fake outrage. We used to live in a society where you could literally say whatever you wanted. If you're over the age of 30, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The 90s and the 2000s were what I consider to be the golden years of entertainment. Nothing was off limits. Everything was pushing boundaries. Music, TV shows, movies, comedians, they all created content that was designed to shock you. Professional wrestling. When did professional wrestling reach its apex in popularity? The late 90s. Why? Because they were creating content that shocked you. It was considered a success if you offended a segment of the population back then. Matter of fact, if you were someone who was easily offended in the 90s, you were labeled a pussy. People knew how to separate jokes, they knew how to separate entertainment from real life. They didn't buy tickets to a Chris Rock show looking for something to offend them. They bought tickets to have a good time, to laugh. If Eminem were starting his career in 2022 the same way he did in 98, he would never make it. He wouldn't be able to find a record company to distribute his music. They would be too afraid of the backlash. There was an element of cancel culture back in the 90s. Cancel culture is not something that's new. Dolores Tucker, Bob Dole, the group that protested at the VMAs back in 99 because Eminem was performing. I can't remember the name of the group. It was one of the alphabet groups, but who fucking cares? They were irrelevant back then because people didn't take them seriously. Another entertainer who would not have made it if he were starting his career today, Howard Stern. Howard Stern is the greatest radio broadcaster of all time, no doubt about it. During his prime, Howard Stern was untouchable. In my opinion, the Howard Stern show died once Artie Lang left over 10 years ago. But part of the reason for the decline, Howard Stern just got old. His show doesn't have nearly the impact that it had during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Howard Stern rarely makes headlines nowadays. His show's tucked away on SiriusXM, a platform that has lost all of its relevancy. But this afternoon, Howard Stern found himself being blasted by the media over something that happened 24 years ago. Yes, here we go again, with the media faking outrage over something that happened before some of these dumbasses were even born. I'm going to play you the clip of what has made the media fake outraged. But first, let me give you the backstory. Magic Johnson has a new show. It's premiering on Apple TV later this month. I didn't look into it too much. From what I can tell, it seems to be a documentary type series about his life and career. Sort of similar to The Last Dance about Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson, he's making the media rounds to promote the new show. He gave an interview to Variety. To their credit, Variety did an excellent job. It's an interesting interview. I actually encourage you to go read it. It's about a 10 to 15 minute read, but of course, the mainstream media has selected one tiny portion of the interview and blew it completely out of proportion. Variety asked Magic Johnson about Howard Stern's appearance on the Magic Hour back in 1998. Now, for those of you that don't know, Magic Johnson had a late night talk show in 98. It only lasted 3 months. It was some of the worst television ever created. Magic Johnson is multi-talented. He's good at many things. Being a talk show host ain't one of them. The show was critically panned, and one of its biggest critics was Howard Stern. So in an effort to spike ratings, Magic Johnson invited Howard Stern on the show. The result was the most entertaining episode in the show's brief history. Looking back at it 24 years later, Magic Johnson, he's got different feelings about it. Since we're living in a new woke society, I am now deeply offended at the behavior of Howard Stern 24 fucking years ago. I wanted to hit him. He told me to stop talking like the white man. Ouch! That hurts my feelings. Look, I don't blame Magic Johnson for this. I don't. He was asked a question, he gave an honest answer. And to be honest with you, I thought his answer seemed genuine. It wasn't anything shocking or revealing, but the media reaction, or should I say the media overreaction, is par for the fucking course. These parasites, they are professionals at taking an innocent remark and spinning it into a narrative that fits their agenda. Now, before I proceed to blast the useless media, let me show you what I'm talking about so you understand. You will hear the remarks of Howard Stern, but I want you to pay close attention to the reaction of Magic Johnson. You tell me if you think he looks uncomfortable. Roll the film.
First of all, what I think you got to do is the show needs some work. It does need some work. I think Sheila will admit that. First of all, Sheila, the first night you came out, you're showing your breasts, you were showing some leg. Tonight, you dress more conservative than Magic. Well, you really should.
Well, you know she can't rip off her top.
She can rip off her top. She used to be with Prince. He was ripping her top off every night.
All right, what else? What else?
All right, the thing you need to work on, in my estimation, seriously, is that you got to stop trying to talk like the white man. That's the truth. It's the truth. Everybody is. I read a fascinating article about you that they got a hold of you and gave you a speech coach, and they gave you a what other kind of coach?
An interview coach.
An interview coach. For crying out loud, what do you need? Anybody can interview. It's very simple. But what they're doing is they're tripping you up.
Okay.
Everybody's anti-ebonics. I say let it fly. Let me tell you something. Magic, or should I call you Irvin?
Either or.
I'll call you Irvin.
Okay.
Because everyone else calls you Magic.
All right.
Irvin, what you need to do, my brother, is to really get down with it. Everyone's trying to get you to talk like the white man. I think this show should loosen up and you talk ebonics all you want.
Okay. All right.
I know what I'm saying? Because it's ridiculous.
First things first, this type of interaction was ordinary in the late 90s. It was nothing shocking. This segment would never air on broadcast television today. We can't have a white man tell a black man to stop talking like he's white. That's racist. Did I hear him say the word ebonics? Headline at the Daily Mail. Magic Johnson wanted to hit Howard Stern after racist interview from 1998. USA Today, they blasted Howard Stern for having the audacity to say at least Magic Johnson had fun contracting AIDS. Can't we have any fun anymore? I mean, what Howard Stern said, that's not far from the truth. I know it was a joke, but the funniest jokes always have an element of truth to them. I'm sure Magic Johnson didn't want to contract AIDS, but pretty sure he did have fun doing so. Back in the 80s, he was putting his dick into anything with a hole. Does that vacuum hose have a hole? Let me put my dick in it. Look at the hole on that muffler. Let me put my dick in it. At least Magic Johnson was banging American women. Today we have Adam Silver and LeBron James getting railroaded by Xi Jinping. We have Russell Westbrook walking the streets of New York City in a fucking dress. And second, did Magic Johnson appear uncomfortable to you? He didn't seem uncomfortable to me. The media is claiming Magic Johnson was clearly uncomfortable with what Howard Stern was saying. The media's coverage of this story further proves there is no loyalty in the woke movement. For the past 2 years, Howard Stern has been a media darling. This dude has been the biggest pussy in America when it comes to the COVI. He's called for unvaccinated people to not receive medical treatment. Howard Stern said they should just go home and die. He's called for its extended lockdowns, mandated vaccines, quadruple mask. His hero is Anthony Fauci. These are all things that has brought praise to Howard Stern from the mainstream media. But all it takes for these shit fucks to turn on you is one thing that happened 24 years ago and the knives come out. This story literally broke this afternoon, so we haven't even seen the extent of the media coverage that we will see. I would be willing to bet Howard Stern will be crucified by the media the rest of this week. They're going to call him a racist. They're going to say he doesn't like black people, even though his fucking sidekick for the last 40 years Someone he's made a multi-millionaire is a black woman. I have seen that interview between Magic Johnson and Howard Stern several times before today. Hell, I remember watching it when it aired in '98. It has been readily available on YouTube for years, yet no one in the media cared about it until Magic Johnson was asked about it. All of a sudden, the media has another story to push their narrative. There was no need to shake the magic woke 8 ball for this one. Magic Johnson handed them a ready-made story of mythical racism. There are many words that give the media a boner, but no word gets them hard like the word racism. Now, normal people watch that interview with Howard Stern and take it for what it really is. Comedy, entertainment. The dude made his living shocking people. But see, the media can't have us laughing with each other. They can't have white people and black people laughing together at a segment like that. No! They have to create outrage to keep us divided. They are trying to create, well, hell, maybe they've already created an atmosphere where you're afraid to say certain things. All cancel culture is a way to control free speech. They know they're not going to get rid of the First Amendment. There would be too much backlash. So what do they do instead? They create an environment where speech is suppressed. They get you afraid to joke about or speak on race. Then they get you afraid to speak on women, afraid to speak on transgender, afraid to speak on LGBT. Next thing you know, you're afraid to speak on anything. As far as they're concerned, mission accomplished. You have the freedom to speak, but you're too afraid to utilize it. I would rather come on here every day and tell you exactly what I'm thinking and risk fucking up at times or risk offending someone than hold myself back and have an inauthentic, fake channel. Fewer and fewer people say what they mean and mean what they say. We just talked about this yesterday with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He gave an honest answer to a question about LeBron James's wokeness. Hours later, he's already backtracking. Joe Biden, he goes over to Europe, wanders off script, says a bunch of stupid shit, gets back to Washington, D.C. Not only does he backtrack, he pretends he never said anything at all. The mainstream media detest authenticity. They don't understand it. They live in this propaganda bubble where nothing is real. That's why they hate Joe Rogan. The reason Joe Rogan is so popular, it's not because of his interviews. It's not because he's the greatest entertainer. Joe Rogan's popular because he's authentic. The reason this channel right here has added over 18,000 subscribers and 4.3 million views since July of last year, it's not because these curtains behind me draw in the viewers. It's not because I'm some once-in-a-generation talent. It's because I'm authentic. I tell you exactly what I'm thinking. Everyone is fair game. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, straight, gay, woke, normal. I find stories, tell you what I think about it. You either agree, disagree, love me, hate me. One thing you can never accuse me of is being inauthentic. Howard Stern used to be the same way. Hell, the entertainment industry used to be the same way, for the most part anyway. Now, it's filled with fake bullshit. Then they wonder why no one watched the Grammys Sunday night. But let me know what you think. Magic Johnson answering a question and the media spinning it into a story about racism from 24 years ago. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.